Hey, folks, this clip is brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ. That is Farm Bureau Health Plans. All right. So we're going to lead into this first with another exclusive clip from an interview by our homie, Austin Stanley, who was at the, if you missed it earlier, he was at the On 3 NIL event. Today, Austin Stanley was there and he interviewed some recruits, some prospects for Tennessee. And this was another one. He interviewed Ryan Wingo, who's a 5-star wide receiver. Currently, the prediction for Wingo is that he'll pick Georgia. Steve Wiltfong put in that crystal ball. But I think what Ryan Wingo says here can lead into the crystal ball that happened today, because these dudes play the same position. And so we'll listen first to what Wingo said. This is less than a minute. It's a pretty short clip. And then we'll kind of talk about what happened right before the show through the lens of this clip. So here's Ryan Wingo, 5-star wide receiver, talking to Austin Stanley.
How much did you follow what Jalen Hyatt was able to do last year with Tennessee?
I was following it a good amount, and then once he hit the Alabama game, I was like, shoot, and like he good. So I started watching him a little more too. So I think that Alabama game put him on the map for sure.
Oh yeah, and third-round pick. You know, as a guy who didn't really do much the first couple of years. How do you see when you're watching Tennessee, when you're watching some of these other schools? Do you envision yourself playing in those offenses?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just because, like you said, he kind of had the most productive first couple of years, and then that 1 year he just got on the spot from that offensive scheme. It's like, hey, why wouldn't you want to go there and be a part of that, of somebody going from 30 catches to 70 catches and just a regular person to a Benikoff winner. So it's like it's pretty special over there.
What do you like about what Tennessee's doing?
So there's that. And what I want to emphasize there is specifically what he points out, what Ryan Wingo points out in terms of the things that he noticed. It was the Alabama game. And I mean, we talked about it at the time. Every recruit, that's going to turn the head of every single recruit in America. They're going to go, whoa, look at what Tennessee just did. This is crazy. And then on top of that, obviously he noticed, look at not just what Tennessee did, but what Jalen Hyatt did. 207 yards, 5 touchdowns. It was insane. I literally have a poster of it hanging up on my wall. And then he brings up the Bolitnikoff Award and what that means. And, these guys are going to notice this. And so speaking of 5-star recruits, 5-star wide receiver recruits, noticing all of these things, 45 minutes before we got on here live for the show, Mike Matthews, a 5-star wide receiver from the state of Georgia, you cannot overstate how huge of a get this would be, got a prediction from one of the recruiting folks at On 3 that he will choose Tennessee. It was Josh Newberg. He had a tweet, right? What did he say in the tweet, Zach?
I mean, it's a picture of him sitting with Matthews in Nashville today, and said, after hanging out with 5-star wide receiver Mike Matthews, I dropped a recruiting prediction in favor of Tennessee. I mean, that seems kind of telling, right?
Yeah, you would think so. This is crazy because, as I mentioned, maybe you're already seeing this Josh Heupel recruiting strategy pay off. Now, Mike Matthews was actually, I believe, he was not at the 865 Live.
Now, his official visit's later in June.
Yes, June 23rd. I think he's coming in. But the fact that you have a guy, a recruiting analyst, talking to him at this NIL event, gleaning from that he's likely to choose Tennessee before he ever even takes his official visit to it. Now, he's visited Tennessee. Mike Matthews has visited Tennessee. He went to a junior day and he's gone before. But, before he ever even takes his official visit, that is big, big, big. And Lord knows, Mike Matthews saw Jalen Hyatt. Mike Matthews saw NFL draft night. Mike Matthews saw the Bolitnikoff Award. And these things are going to pay dividends for you if he chooses Tennessee. This could be so big. I don't want to get too hyped over it. The kid has not chosen Tennessee yet in any official capacity. But I mean, man, to get a guy out of Georgia, out of the state of Georgia after they just won back-to-back national championships, like, come on, folks. This would just be insane, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime you can go get an elite player out of Georgia, one of the top players in the state, and keep them away from Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs, that's massive. And it's at a position where Tennessee can use him and get the most out of him. I am cautious about some of these crystal balls, though, with him not taking this official visit yet. He's got some more visits coming. Recruiting's so fluid, and not to pour cold water all over this whole conversation, but it is such a you're really stepping out to make any sort of prediction for a recruit, especially a 5-star that's going to be highly coveted, that some of these programs are going to be going back and forth, really trying to get this guy. It could come down to the very, right before he signs. I mean, you never know. Even when they're committed, you still don't know, especially with the wide receiver, how this will all play out. So it's obviously it's a great sign. It means Tennessee's right there in the mix, but I'm nowhere close to wanting to say, hey, they're going to land this guy just because of this one prediction.
Yeah, even just the fact that I agree, 100% agree. I'm not going to get too hyped over this until this kid puts pen on paper with an NLI, not an NIL. It just is not real until it's real with recruiting, because these kids change their minds constantly. They want to go through the process. My recruiting's open. My blah, 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 blah. We all know. And so it's just can be very up and down. But the fact that Tennessee is just this much in the mix, again, for a kid out of Georgia. And, everybody that lives in Georgia is not a built-in Georgia fan. That's no guarantee, especially in like Atlanta and stuff. There's a lot of institutions and fandoms to choose from when you live in a big city like that.
There's a lot of transplants to that area as well.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly where I don't think he's from Atlanta. I might be misspeaking there. He's Lilburn, Georgia. Yeah, I'm not going to act like I know actually where that is in the state of Georgia. I'll be totally honest. But regardless, there's pro teams in Georgia and there's stuff like that to choose from. So you may not be a UGA fan, but still, Kirby Smart's trying to lock down the state of Georgia. Obviously, he's gotten a ton of incredible talent from that state, and a ton of incredible talent comes from that state constantly. And so if you could go and grab this kid, it would just be absolutely ridiculous. You already got the number 1 quarterback from the state of Georgia in Jake Merklinger, and he was at this event today for On 3. It just would be crazy, but it has to happen first for me to just be over the moon about it. I'm super happy that they are so far in the mix with these kids that the On 3 recruiting machine gives Mike Matthews a 78% chance to choose Tennessee over Clemson and Georgia. Are you kidding me? It's crazy. But that alone is exciting, but it's not going to be real excitement until he actually chooses Tennessee, which hopefully maybe that official visit weekend, maybe that's when. But let's also say this, before he ever even gets there, I think he's going to Georgia and Alabama in his Georgia and USC. And he visited Alabama in April. So lot of competition there. Obviously, one of the top wide receiver recruits in America. But
Big Ten Jeff makes a pretty good point here. UGA has not produced wide receivers in a while, and we were actually talking about this before we started recording. And do not fact check us on this, but we're pretty sure AJ Green was the last wide receiver to come from Georgia. Again, don't fact check us, but it's been a while since they've produced any great wide receivers.
Farm Bureau Health Plans has been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years, and much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau Health Plans has always valued personal relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, and vision. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ or walk into one of their 200-plus locations across the state of Tennessee. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Definitely, yeah, absolutely true. And that offense doesn't exactly inspire like, oh, come here and you're just going to get a ton of reception. It's going to be it's an antiquated, just not. It works because Georgia's defense is ridiculous and the offense is good enough.
The offensive line was like having a wall, a brick wall in front of Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, it's obviously it gets the job done pretty well. They won the national championship by 60, but.
Ohio State, Big Ten Jeff's right. Ohio State has grabbed a couple of quarterbacks from the state of Georgia that have worked out pretty well.
Yeah, well, it's Ohio State at the moment. I mean, they are sort of the preeminent wide receiver spot. Tennessee's coming for that, but Tennessee did have top wide receiver in America this past year. Nothing big, no big deal, just a Biletikoff winner, nothing serious. But anyway. this is just big. I mean, it's a big recruiting development, and you just can't give enough applause to Josh Heupel right now. And obviously, that's just going to get even more exciting if they can just land all of these kids. Now, on that
Just get
note,
one of Wingo or Matthews, really. Getting both would be incredible, but you just get one of those guys, and it's a win.
yes, because those, I mean, they are class changers. That's what that is. That is a kid like a Nico Iamaliava, where other kids look and they go, "Whoa, they are doing something real at Tennessee. Maybe I need to give them a harder look." And now, and I'll say this: you already got a 4-star. You got a 4-star to commit over the weekend, and we haven't even mentioned this yet. Peyton Lewis, a running back, which this I think is really exciting because, obviously, just like wide receiver, a running back in Josh Heupel's offense, what an exciting position, and what it would be so much fun to play in Josh Heupel's offense almost anywhere. But running back, wide receiver, it's just got to be a joy. Peyton Lewis from Salem, Virginia, 4-star. He is the number 3 player from the state of Virginia, the number 15 running back in America, according to 247. A great pickup. So, I mean, things are chugging along. Tennessee on 247 Sports, number 8 class in America at the moment. You're top 10. And you keep getting guys like you've already gotten at the 4-star level. And then you add 2 5-stars. And at this point, Tennessee's in on more, I want to say, than just
Oh,
that.
yeah. A lot on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, Sammy Brown, who we played in the first second, our interview with him. I mean, yeah, this could end up being edge of top 5 in America class if you get some of these guys in the fold. And that is just crazy. And it's the thing that we've been waiting on now that you got that 11-win season. Got that out of the way. Obviously, you got to keep doing it. But man, that elite recruiting is how you get to that Georgia level. And this would be that elite recruiting. So hopefully it all happens. Keep that momentum going. Keep doing cool things like this 865 Live. And maybe it's all going to pay off soon.
Yeah, I think
See.
Tennessee's at a point right now where, they won 11 games last year. They're on the verge of really exploding in college football and being a perennial threat to some of the top teams in the nation. But they're at that point right now where they've got to get over the finish line. So that means you've got to go win 10 or 11 games again in 2023. I mean, I know they have their sights set higher, but either way, you've got to go win like 10 games and keep the momentum going. You've also, and this is out of Tennessee's control, but you really need Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, Hendon Hooker, even Velus Jones, who was drafted last year. You need them to go have success in the NFL. You need them to disprove some of these narratives. And not all of that is on Tennessee. I mean, the scheme is supposed to, help prepare them. The coaches help prepare them for the NFL. But ultimately, once you get to the NFL, it's on you to put in the work. If Stetson Bennett doesn't succeed in the NFL, it's not he won 2 national championships at Georgia. He did his job. He put up some decent, pretty good numbers even as a quarterback. If he fails in the NFL, it's on him. That doesn't really come back on Georgia. But if Hendon Hooker goes and fails in the NFL, it's going to come back on Tennessee just because of the scheme, because of the narrative that was put out there all through the pre-draft process. So you really need Hooker, and that might be more in the 2024, and Hyatt and Tillman to really go out there and have good. They don't have to go out and be Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson as a rookie, but you got to go out there and hold your own, start some games, make some big plays, and at least, have a career in the NFL and stick on a roster. If you're there and you're catching, 40 passes for 650 yards a season, that's not that impressive. But at that point, it's like, okay, that's on you to get better. It's not the scheme that was holding you back that you played in at college. And I think most people kind of understand that, but that's kind of what's been weaponized against Tennessee on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, a lot of puzzle pieces still have to fall in place. There's no doubt about that, but it's all, I think the formula is there for it to all happen. Will it all happen? Before this last football season, you wouldn't have caught me saying Tennessee was going to win 11 games. Here we are.
I mean, we felt like 9 wins was the best case scenario, really.
Exactly. So you never know with what Josh Heupel is doing in Tennessee so far, man. He's been a miracle worker, period. Miracle worker. So nothing will surprise me. It's just going to be time will tell. And that's going to wrap. Anything else with recruiting, Zach, before we go? I think we covered it for the most part.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to jump back on here in maybe next week or at least in the coming weeks and discuss some of the fruits of this past weekend and what Tennessee's going to get out of it.
I really, really hope so because I think he could be big, and we'll just have to see.